Yeah, we used to go to all sorts of do's, Wayne Rooney's 18th and all that type of stuff.
Like one of the bits of feedback we did get last season is they have total confidence in this.
It's good that way. It is quite a close-knit family.
So day to day, we work very closely with the first team staff. So generally speaking, a training session will start at 11 o'clock, and within that they will start to look to set up at 10:30. So at 10:30, we will meet the first team staff, the manager, and they will come out and they'll explain what they need from us. And that will be a conversation in the morning to see if there's any problems from our end, any feedback we have to give them back. If they need 2 pitches, but there's been an irrigation leak or a problem and we need to negotiate on what, maybe something else. But generally speaking, mid-season, it's pretty easy really. We'll just prepare it for them as soon as they've trained, and then we'll look to do some post stuff. We've got pitch 9, which is a fibre sand construction. So it's reinforced, but it's not to the spec of a synthetic deso pitch. We have to manage it slightly different, and this is the pitch they're actually going to come back to during pre-season. So bearing in mind this comes back a little bit earlier, so it's usually about 8 weeks that will be fully operational from being stripped off to where it is now. It's about 9-10 weeks is where we're at the moment. So as you can see, rehab are out on at the moment, but with the first team's return, that's the pitch they will be using for fitness and ball work and stuff like that. So that's key. During the actual playing season, yeah, right back. These are the workhorses. These are the deso pitches. So that becomes solely a rehab pitch. So that's where all our medical staff, as you can see now, where the guys are coming out and doing bits. So you can see the different shades. So obviously there you've got your grass plant, and just within it, you can just see the plastic fibres, which is the deso. If this was full coverage, we'd have a job trying to find them. So it's actually a good time to show you an example. So the deso construction is identical to Goodison Park. So it's exactly the same formation layers, upper root zone, deso stitch, and grass plants as well. So we use the same cultivars and species. So in that front, it's identical. Since they've been constructed, 7 years ago, I've had the privilege of working with them from that get-go, right from the construction, right the way through. And they offer challenges. You don't always get it right. Each year you think, oh, we've nailed it this year. And then the following year, like, it's been a really, really dry summer. Like, it's been one of the driest Junes on record. And I've never had to manage moisture as difficultly as I have this year. But we've got it germinated, and it's just a matter of changing what we do now. So, yeah, a lot of biostimulants, seaweeds, things to help it, because it's growing in sand effectively, and there's not a lot of nutrition or moisture in that. So we've got to try and alleviate that the best we can, and that's our job in essence. Moisture is also a big thing.
Yeah.
As you can probably tell, we spoke about like how the industry's changed over 30, 20 years, what have you. We're all sand-dominated root zones now. So whether it's deso, whether it's fibre sand, whatever it will be, the reason behind that is filtration. We live in Britain, and we get a lot of rain, and we don't ever want a game or a session called off through standing water. Now that has its own problems, because it doesn't want to hold on to moisture and also nutrition, so it can work in essence against itself. So it's like a sieve. You pour water in a sieve, it just washes through, which is great when it's raining, which raining all the time, but not in like the hottest, June on record. And you hear people saying, oh, they play on synthetic surfaces now, stuff like that, which partly is true, but it's only really 3% of the actual makeup of the pitch itself. So that's what we have. So we have gravel carpet. We do have undersoil heating in these pitches as well. So we've got obviously undersoil heating, gravel carpet, and irrigation. As a grounds person, you look after the pitch in essence. So you look after plant health, disease tolerance, wear tolerance, stress, recovery, nutrition, all that sort of stuff. But the performance is really what these guys are at. Like the manager and the coaches, obviously they want to come out and see a nice, healthy green pitch, but they want it to play well. It's not a lawn, it's a playing surface, it's a pitch. And the performance is really, really key, because they're on these day in, day out. And one of the things they don't want is they don't want a player going out on a surface that is going to, cause them problems or long-term injuries. So it's finding that happy medium.
What do the lads wear day to day then? If they're on a similar pitch, is that still weather dependent or condition dependent? Or
I think a lot of it's down to like personal choice.
Oh, okay.
I know Jordan's a firm believer in positive or negative feedback. More positive, which is a good thing. But yeah, he takes a real interest in it, and he's keen, especially for his distribution. You know, he's got to have confidence in that standing foot to keep, you know, knocking those balls where he wants them. So having confidence from a goalkeeper is really, really important, and he will let us know if he hasn't got any confidence. Believe me, he won't hold back. And Seamus as well. Seamus is a great believer in feedback, and one of the bits of feedback we did get last season is they have total confidence in this, and that's really good from our perspective, because, you know, whoever it might be can whip down the line, and he knows if he has to stop it suddenly, it's not going to give way. And that's good for us, because we're doing our job then.
Yeah.
Total confidence in the surface. That was like a really nice bit of feedback. So yeah, as you can see, this is the hill. It was constructed when Finch Farm was constructed, and it was used by Moyes and the fitness staff as a running aid, really. As you can see, the remnants of the AstroTurf there. It's never really been used since, to be honest. So as you can see, we've got the Seagrow units and bits and bobs for storage of goals. But it gives you the good perspective on like how nice the environment is here. So yeah, like a credit to Andy and the garden team is, like, as you can see here, like a wildflower. Andy, do you want to come and...
Ryan was just telling us a little bit more about this area, but maybe you can fill in a little bit more.
It was wasted area. It was just a hill. It used to just be a running track when David Moyes was the manager. It was a running track. And then when David Moyes left, it was just a grass hill with trees on. So we decided, let's put some colour on it. We came up with the idea of Rupert's Tower, sow some wild seeds in, and then as we were sowing them and as they started coming up, we noticed there was red poppies coming through, so we were like, we can't have red in an Everton bed, so we started taking them out. And then I thought, well, rather than taking them all out, why not leave 97 in as a memory, from an Everton point of view, as a memorial to the 97 Liverpool fans from Hillsborough. So that's what we're doing now. There's actually 97 in there now. There'll probably be a few more as the weeks go, but we go in and we count them, believe it or not, and we leave only 97 in. So I just thought it'd be a nice little touch from an Evertonian's point of view. I've got family who are Reds, got good friends who are Reds. So I just thought, you know, why not? We're Merseyside, it's only a game of football at the end of the day, and I just think it's a nice little touch.
So John, how long have you been here?
I've been here, I'm in my 7th year.
Right.
Yeah. But I spent 30 years working for a sports growing contractor who actually built Finch Farm, and so I've been here from the start, basically.
So you know it well.
Yeah. I think that's probably one of the reasons why they employed me. I mean, of course, the essential part is to prepare a surface for either a training session, rehab, as we've got behind us, or a match day. But of course, there's a lot more that goes on behind the scenes.
And what about you, Rachel? Your story's a little bit more unique, isn't it?
So it all starts with how I got into turfgrass science to begin with. Went off to university at Ohio State right after high school when I was 18. Wasn't quite sure what I wanted to do after school. And I started working a part-time job at the turfgrass research facility. And it was there in talking with the manager at the time about his past experience being a head groundsman in professional baseball and professional soccer, that I just fell in love with it. I love the idea of the science behind it and working with your hands outside every day, and still interactive with sports because I enjoy playing sports my whole life growing up. So it just kind of encompassed everything and seemed the right fit for me. So I switched to a turfgrass major, and I was looking to come abroad and do an internship. And because of Ryan's experience through Ohio State and with the Columbus crew who I was working for at the time, we had a connection. And so we reached out to Everton and asked if they'd be willing to take me on as an intern, and they agreed. So coming over here from the United States in soccer to the Premier League in football, same sport, but it's a different way of doing things, different technologies, bigger groups of people working, bigger budget. It's not that one's better than the other, it's just that we do things differently. And so there's actually a lot that I had experience-wise at home that I did recognize here was different, and I could even like add on a few points. But there's also things here that I observed that I could take home and try to adapt in some way in our way of doing things.
So obviously we've come out to have a look at the line painting equipment and how that process is done.
Basically, what the rule of thumb is, every 3 cuts we have to repaint, just to keep them bright and visible, you know, for the coaching staff.
So can we have a look at your programming it?
Yeah, sure. Well, so this is a tablet that we use to control it. All the pictures on the site are programmed into this. So, okay. So now I've got Deso 1 up, and I'll choose this corner where we are.
And off it goes.
Years ago, no one had ever thought of using. Ground staff team here consists of 9 groundsmen and 2 gardeners, and that's including myself. So there's 11 here and 3 at Goodison. I started July '83 with Paul Mackenzie, who still works at Goodison now. He's still doing the same job. So I started on the maintenance, which with Alan Bowen, who was an electrician. Then at the moment, he was the stadium manager. And we've been here ever since, but I moved over to the ground staff in '91, just as Mike Walker. I think it was Mike Walker when I just started on the ground staff, and then obviously it's evolved since that. And then Belfield was great, but it was 3.5 pitches, and then once you come here,
I mean, if you look at it now, it's a huge site.
it is. And
So what is all this part then?
like that's just been renovated.
Okay.
So this is mainly the younger kids, so the small size of pitches. So we have like A, B and C for the youngsters that play Sunday games here, Saturday, Sundays. So they'll train on this. So the ideal marker for a kid is to come here, be playing on them, and you work your way around as your age gets older. And then you're 10s, 11s, 12s. That's the 16s match pitch. So if you keep getting on, you're progressing around the site. Ultimately, the 18s are in that far corner, then the 21s, and then if you're lucky to continue, you're on the top plateau, and then your first team. So you start there, you go all the way around.
When you're up there, you really need to be almost on the outskirts of the session, ready to, you know, maybe water the pitch.
Yeah. You want that.
Will people have to be doing that for the 21s, 18s
just
as well?
done it before, yeah.
Really?
They'll ring me, either Bainesy or Paul Tate, and say they need water at certain times, or the rehab as well, that they want water, and the ladies. So
I guess, well, you know, 40 years, I know obviously you didn't start out in this role, but you've been in it since '91, which is a long time.
Well, it's evolved, hasn't it? Since the Premier League come in, there's more money. So years ago, the ground staff were, you know, it was the clock cap and wellies type of fella with, but now the way these have changed, only through Premier League money, because they've evolved into these Deso pitches now, and it's incredible what you have to do to keep them going.
Yeah. You've said a lot about how it changed, or it has changed so much.
The pitches were soil, just your bog standard, you know, council fields, which we kept a little bit better than that at Belfield. And then '95, we changed to sand-based pitches, but not to bore you, they were non-reinforced. So it was basically a pitch made out of sand, which worked. You know, the drainage were good because you used to have all mud and stuff. They were really good, but they couldn't take the intensity of the training. Now, Belfield was 3 pitches, and they'd have the the first team, the reserves, and the kids training there as well. And it was just too much. He just crumbled apart.
So I suppose in Belfield days, you know, October time, November.
Yeah, you were gone, yeah. It was bucket of sand, just shoveling sand on goal mouths. Goalkeepers hated it because once they caught the ball, the sand would go in their eyes and stuff. It was terrible.
I don't think there'll be many people know that there's a pond on the Finch Farm site.
So, as you can see, the irrigation there, it's fed from here. We have our own borehole. It goes through to these tanks. It's under UV light for any, you know, Legionellas and all that type of stuff, and then comes out there.
That basically just collects the water, and then we use that water for the pitches.
And that drains back into there. So from the top, that all drains into there. There's a digestion tank over there with bugs in that cleans it all, and it all filters back into this pond. So we use it, all filters everything, filters down. There's lots of wildlife in there, and obviously Andy's on top of all that, because you know, look at the size of that as well.
So is this a passion of yours as opposed to something that the club insist on? Or
no, this is just a passion of mine and Sam's. So we opened it up, thinned all this out, made a walk through, and there's a walk through a little wooded area that we've created that takes you around to that area over there. That's the start of the wood area. You can walk through it. It's like a nature reserve, it's like a squirrel woods or Delamere Forest kind of thing. And then we've got feeders that we've put up, bat boxes dotted around. There's a bat box there, there's a few all around. Inside there's hedgehog boxes. The Everton Free School built them for us, and they made them all, brought them in, the kids brought them in.
I know you're obviously consistently working hard, but do you ever just like to wander in here?
All the time.
Yeah,
if I've got free time, it's just so peaceful.
Yeah.
See, the plan is ideally, what I'd like to see is to develop it all and then have it as, if people are a bit down over there and they want to have their dinner over there, just get maybe some benches up and they can come and have the lunch and just forget about the worries kind of thing.
It's very clear that this isn't a kind of, how can I put it, a 9 to 5 task, Monday to Friday. It's
365 days a year there's a groundsman here. And then people think you stop at the end of the season, but we carry on.
Say, I'm part of the team. How does my day-to-day look? Like, what time am I coming in? Or
You're coming in at 8 o'clock, and we have a meeting every morning. What's happened the day before, what we need to do today and what we need to do tomorrow. It can change with weather, training patterns, all that type of stuff. And then we'll reconvene at 12 o'clock. So between me, Ryan and Paul's on the academy. Ryan runs the first team and I'm just like a go-between between the two. We come up with a solution with staff, machinery and how we can cope with what's next. And that goes on daily, every single day.
We saw Seamus giving a little beep at his horn on the way out. Do you find that certain players you do build relationships with because you work a lot closer with them?
You did, like at Belfield you did because you were all on the one site. Years ago you'd go out with them for a drink, obviously I was the same age as them. You could be invited to weekends away, weddings, 21st, all that type of stuff. You did socialise with them a lot. We used to go to all sorts of do's. Wayne Rooney's 18th and all that type of stuff.
Did you go to Wayne Rooney's 18th?
Yeah, James Beattie's weddings, it was all sorts of bits.
I started at Everton in 1988, just after we had that success with Howard Kendall. Howard Kendall was on his last couple of weeks when I joined, and I got the job as head groundsman at the training ground at Belfield. So it was just like a massive job then. Everton were probably one of the top teams in Europe then. So they won the European Cup, Winners' Cup, FA Cup, League, everything. And I've come straight in there, blasé, head full of, you know, custard and all that spider and that. And I've met these players, Kevin Ratcliffe, you know, Peter Reid, Paul Bracewell, Neville Southall, Colin Harvey, Howard Kendall, the whole lot, you know. So Philip Carter, all these other people coming in then see, and I've come in here and I thought, what the hell have I done this?
What's this?
What we had these for, when we did the growing in period of the pitch, because it's an industrial area around here. We have a lot of pigeons, feral pigeons. So when we put the grass seed on the pitch, the first thing they do is eat all the grass. So we bought these 2 hawks. One of the lads, so we put them on the pitch. Absolutely brilliant. The best 40 pounds I've ever bought. That is, honestly, God, it is.
So what kind of pitch is Goodison? So because we've learned a bit about Deso pitches and stuff.
Yeah, exactly the same week. I got this one. I think it's on its 9th year now. It's on its final year, so it's worked quite well to go with Bramley Moor. So we'll keep this for about another 18 months. You know, it's in perfect condition. The Deso system it's built on a gravel raft system. So we have a layer of gravel. It's like a sandwich cake. If you look at it, it's like a sandwich cake. Or if you did geology, it's like a sediment layer of gravel, about 200 mil. And above that we have like a membrane, which is a semi-permeable membrane. Lets the water through, but doesn't let anything come back up. Then the irrigation pipes and underheating pipes are all in that system then, see. So you find the levels, which is 8 inches, in the old one it's 8 inches, 200 mil below the surface. And then we have the root zone, which is built on top of that, and then we sown the pitch with seed, and then 3 weeks later we stitched it. It's like a polypropylene fibre, which is about 200 centimetres long, which is injected into it or stitched into it. It takes about 3 weeks.
Right.
And it's like when you go to Formby, it's like you know the marron grass from Formby. It stabilises all the dunes. Exactly the same thing in the pitch. It stabilises the pitch for movement, and you get a consistent bounce and all of that. It's all the new facilities we have, new machines and everything like that. But it's so intense, the Premiership now.
Yeah.
It's now, you know, HD TVs, the pitches have got to look like artificial. You know, so green, so lush. We use these machines. These are just basically machines just to get the pitch down. And on Matchway we have electric mowers. And the electric mowers are all governed off Bluetooth. So everything we do on that now is on your iPhone's Bluetooth. The height cut, your walking speed, the reel cut and the cuts, how many times you cut the pitch, you know, what conditions the pitch like, is it wet, is it dry, is it cold, or it all affects it then, see, for the battery life. So that's the technology these days. These lads love it who work underneath me now. Yeah. It's all gadgetry stuff, but it's really helped you. So the Premiership, since it's been formed, has helped groundsmanship 100%.
I know we're in the summer now, but say we're in the height of the season, we're playing, you know, there or thereabouts every other week.
So just say, I'll give you a hypothetical thing.
Yeah.
We've got Boxing Day Cane coming up next week. It's pouring down rain, it's been snowing, it's -5. We need a win, all right? Manager said, we want the pitch spotless. So what we'll have on now, apart from cutting the pitch, we'll have about 9 rigs on, 9 lighting rigs on. So the lighting rigs are, you know, for growth through the winter time, because we need at least 12 hours of light for the growth of the pitch to give it a standard, you know, uniform look, then seeing quality of pitch. So we have the undersoil heater on, we have the lighting rigs, we're cutting the pitch, but the grasses that we have in the stadium are a little bit different than the training grounds. Because of the environment, it's like 4 seasons in one here. You're standing here, it's sunshine. You go down to the park end, it's in shade. So you can get like 15 degrees difference in. And then also during the winter time you have the light from the sun. The sun doesn't come above the stands in the Bullens Road, so it's in permanent darkness. So what you've got to do, you've got to substitute the light system. So that goes on lighting rigs, undersoil heating, chemicals you put on the pitch. There's some fertiliser sprays we put on the pitch are photogenic, so what it does, it absorbs whatever light's in the pitch, and converts it into food and like that. The technology is unbelievable these days. It's just one of the only pitches now in the Premiership has a camber of 16 inches in the centre. It's what's called a pyramid arete.
I was about to say, layman terms, is that basically
it's
a
like
curve?
4 triangular envelopes. The plane goes from the centre spot to the back of the goal, and also Bullens Road to the main stand. It's like a pyramid effect.
But is there a reason?
It was the old school. When they built the pitches in the 1920s, it wasn't groundsmen, it was road builders who built it, tarmac and all these. So they built it as a camber, like an ordinary road. So we said it just sheds the water. It did the job. So what we did when we built the new pitch, the agronomist said, well, with the tradition of Everton, we'll instill the same pitch. So we kept the camber. It doesn't make a big difference, just aesthetically it looks like it's a big bowling green effect. Pat Nevin used to sit in the dugout and all you can see is his eyes, and that's all he could see. And then when he stood up, he couldn't see the ball on the far side. You know, it's them sort of funny days you have like that. So you want a cushion on his seat, Pat used to say to him, get him on the seat like that. Yeah, but it's like years and years ago, he'd be mixing up a big vat of creosote to mark the lines out. There's nothing like that now. It's all technical. It's all titanium oxide paints for doing the lines, so it's nice and bright and white for the TVs. It's all catered for. The main pitch is for TV. So when the punters come in, they're all ground staff, and when the game's on, they're all managers. And after the game, they're all TV pundits again, then see. Because the first thing you do when you come into Goodison, you come up the Park End or Glad Street, first thing you see is the pitch, big green carpet. And then they say, oh, the pitch is good, or the pitch is not so good. And, you know, you come here with a night match, so under the floodlights, and there's no one here then, so when you put the floodlights on, you just see the grass, dark green and all the floods. That's what makes it.
You know the lines, are you using machines for them now, or are you painting them yourselves?
No, because of the camber of the pitch. We first used them when they come out, it was called a beam rider. You had like 2 points, 2 reference points, 2 reflectors at the corner flags. And we put all the reflectors in, and then we had the machine set up. And then when we did it, we did the full line. And by the time we got to the halfway line, it was 4 inches out. Because of the camber puts everything off. Because we tried the GPS ones, but because of the stadium, it's enclosed. By the time you get a signal, the pitch is like a parallelogram or something like that, or a cuboid or something like that. It doesn't work here, so we use, Big John does it. That's his job, he marks out.
What will happen at the half time?
Yeah, we have the 3 of us on the pitch. We'll do a bit of the re-divoting and putting water on the pitch at half time if needed. And then we have 3 of the maintenance staffs, which are fantastic. You know, they're good lads. They don't know a lot about groundsmanship, but they know how to repair divots in the pitch. But it's like it's a big family here. Everyone helps each other. So as soon as we come off the pitch, if you need any help outside, we'll go and help that when the match is on. It's become a norm now. All the maintenance staff and ground staff help each other out.
Nice.
It is good that way.
Yeah.
It is quite a close-knit family.